What's good with them, family man? Back with another banger today. And today I got something fairly important to y'all. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people ask me, where did I get my van? How did I get my van? Like, when did I get my van? So today, I'm gonna let y'all know how and when I made one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. All right, so we're gonna backtrack about 4.5, 5 years ago, right? I was working at the state. I was working at a mental institution, um, and it was okay. You know, it was a new environment. It was a learning environment. It was a humbling environment. But I knew that I wanted greater. My pay at the time wasn't much at all. I was making like 25,000 a year. Really, really, pipsqueak salary type shit. Pipsqueak salary for real. Um, and though it was a humbling experience, I know I wanted more for myself. I always grew up an entrepreneur. Starting in, I'd say about late middle school for me, is when I started selling shoes. That went on to high school. I would flip shoes. Um, as well as I had a job at Harris Teeter grocery store. So I was making a lot of money back in high school, having new shoes every day, keeping up the $200 to $500 in my pockets. Like, I was living a life, you know. And then fast forward, I went on to college, still doing the same things, adding a couple extra, side hustles to my portfolio. I was still an entrepreneur. Ended up getting to the point where I was making like $3,000 or $4,000 a month as a college student. Like, and that was a lot of money compared to everybody around me who was broke. You know what I'm saying? But I always had the entrepreneurial mindset. I knew that working for myself was what I needed to do, what I wanted to do, because, like everybody else, I don't like being told when to show up to a meetings, what to wear to work. I don't like being in an environment for 8 hours with people I don't really like, faking it, kicking it, stuff like that. I don't like being told I can't use the restroom when I want all that little stuff, go to lunch and go. No, 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 no. So I knew I wanted more for myself, and at the time, the expediting industry, the cargo industry, it wasn't really popping like that. It was only maybe box truck bros just starting out at the time. I forgot, it's another guy who had a box truck. He did Amazon Relay, and he just showed people how, like, you can build an Amazon Relay business and not even have to touch a load. And there was also a cargo van driver at the time. He was black. I think his name was Jonathan. If I'm mistaken, I'm sorry. I think his name's Jonathan. It's been a while, but yeah, he was on TikTok at the time when it first started, and that's what popped up, and that motivated me. Simply seeing him do OTR, he was getting on the DAT load board and booking the loads himself, and he was fitting like huge items in his cargo van, doubling up, getting partial loads, 2 or 3 partial loads, running up 5K a week. Making 30,000 a month sometimes. I was like, wow, that's it. But I wasn't in quite the position he was, you know what I'm saying? And I knew that, and I knew I had to get there. So for me, working at the job, at the time I had a Jeep. I was renting a house with a couple of roommates. I knew I had to sacrifice because I wasn't making enough, and I hadn't saved enough. So I sold my Jeep. Beautiful Jeep, 4-door Grand Wrangler. Um, it was on what, 35s, mud graps, you know what I'm saying? Like windows tinted, beautiful, man. It was beautiful. And I got rid of my baby, and I used that money to go ahead and purchase my first cargo van. So going through the purchasing process, that was like my second time buying a car. The first time was extremely easy because I had just like, money back in college. Because I got that Jeep back when I was in college. Mind you, I told y'all back in college I was already making, like $4,000, $5,000 a month as a college student. So it was nothing for me to go ahead and boom. I had like $8,000. I bought the Jeep. You know what I'm saying? The payments were like $200 a month type. So boom, did that. And yeah, I sold that. I used a lot of that down payment on my first cargo van, and we had um a guy out in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Shout out to Dre. He's a family automotive dealer for us who's got my parents all of their cars, my sisters, me, all of my cars and stuff like that. And told him what I wanted. Sure enough, he was out on the look for it. He found it, told me what my options were, gave me like 5 or 6 different vans to choose from. Chose one, made it happen. I made it happen. When I first started off, I got regular insurance so I could pull the van out the lot. Got home, started quoting it for commercial insurance and things of that such, which I had already done. I just didn't know who I wanted to go with, so called a couple of people one more time. About 2 days from there, had my commercial insurance on it. And I was already signed up on apps at the time. You know what I'm saying? So I had already, like, as soon as I got my van, I knew I could keep it running. I got a van because I knew I could keep it running. First of all, like I told you, entrepreneur, your mindset, I was always a hustler. Other than that, in my Jeep, I was already running on roadie. I was already running on freight. Sometimes I would do like Spark and stuff like that on the side. So I just easily transitioned on in, which I do recommend people do so that you're not just sitting looking for loads. Then when I finally got my van, that's when I found my first dispatcher. My dad's a barber, so he was just talking to people, asking who know who, and he found a dispatcher for me that was local. And I stayed with them a couple months, got another one, to the point where I had like 3 dispatches under my belt. But yeah, that's really how I got my first van, was a sacrifice, selling one of my other cars to the point where the van was all that I have. I still don't have any other vehicles at this time, but if you've been following, you know that I had a van. Someone totaled it, they hit me. Now I have another van. So I went through the same process for the second van. I hit Dre up like, Dre, bro, my shit got totaled. I need to find another van. He like, whoop whoop. Took about a week or two, sent me my options. We went and got it, audited and things like that, inspected, and boom, now we're in this baby right here. But yeah, man, one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, because it's just like, for today example, I'm just chilling right now, but I've already made $200. Some days you're gonna make $0. Some days you only make 30. You know what I'm saying? Some days you only make 100. Some days, you'll make 500. Some days you might make $1,000. You know what I'm saying? And it just depends on the day, depends on your hustle on that day, depends on the available loads, and how you set yourself up for the future. But that's my story on how I got my cargo van, man. Y'all comment below. Let me know, like, what did you do to get your cargo van? What did you have to go through in order to, make one of your dreams come true? Let me know, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe.